before I came. It's funny with us Palestinians. When I was a kid, we were repeating some of these chants. And now I talk to my grandkids, and they come up with the same suggestion. And you know why? Because things haven't changed. And I will say 1, 2, 3, 4. And you will say, stop Israel's genocidal war. You got it? Yes. Then I say 5, 6, 7, 8. Israel is a racist state. Ready? Let's try it. 1, 2, 3, 4. Stop Israel's genocidal war. 1, 2, 3, 4. Stop Israel's genocidal war. 5, 6, 7, 8. Israel is a racist state. 5, 6, 7, 8. Israel is a racist state. From the river to the sea. 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 And now, and Nazareth. You can't solve the problem of Al-Aqsa Mosque without solving the problem of Nablus and Jenin. You can't solve the problem of Nablus and Jenin without solving the problem of Gaza. You can't solve the problem of Gaza without solving the problems of Sabra and Shatila and Burj al-Barajna and Ain al-Hilwa and all of the Palestinian refugee camps in the diaspora. What will be the vision that we have as the organizers of this event is one free Palestine for all the citizens, for all of its citizens. Free Palestine.
Free Palestine. Free Palestine. Free Palestine. Free Palestine. Free Palestine. Free Palestine. What do we want? What do we want now?
Oh, hello. They have planted roots and olive trees and nurtured their children. We call for the protection of human rights that give people the freedom of movement so that they are not harassed and belittled and abused at military checkpoints within their own country. We call for the protection of human rights that give children the opportunity to live and thrive in peace. We call for the protection of human rights. Who's going to speak to us? David? Who's going to speak to us? We have some Orthodox rabbis from New York who one of them will speak to us. Pardon? Thomas? I'm sorry. Oh, you're the one. Okay, Bobby Feldman, he actually sent me a message and he would like to say a few words. These rabbis have come a long way and they are very supportive of the Palestinian cause. So let's hear from him now.
Thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum. My name is Rabbi David Feldman with Neturei Kata International, Jews United Against Zionism. I personally am not Palestinian, but I have many friends in occupied Palestine who are Palestinian Jews. Palestinian Jews who suffer together with the Palestinian Muslims, who suffer together with the Palestinian Christians, who suffer from the Zionist regime. It is our people who understand what suffering is. It's Jewish people who suffered at the hands of the Nazis in the Holocaust. We know what suffering is.
Yes.
I personally visited Gaza twice since 2009, since the beginning of the siege. It's unbelievable what was seen in those days. Who can imagine what's going on today? God forbid if I would be there today. I had tears in my eyes in 2009. If I would see what's going on today, it's heartbreaking, it's terrible, it's disastrous. As human beings, we should never allow this to happen in the beginning, and we should never allow this to continue so long. And as Jewish people we say, it's so embarrassing all of this is being done supposedly in our name. It's so embarrassing. It's a true desecration of God's name when all of this is being done supposedly in the name of the Jewish religion. Let me tell you, it's already for the past couple of weeks which we hear what's going on with the settlers in Jerusalem. This is a true embarrassment, especially when these settlers look like Orthodox religious Jews. This is the worst embarrassment of our religion. And let me tell you, it was 2 weeks ago when the Eidel Haredis, the anti-Zionist rabbinate of Jerusalem, representing over 100,000 Jewish people in occupied Palestine, issued a statement condemning these settler activities. But we need to clarify that it's not only the settler extremist movement that is wrong and that Jewish people condemn. It's the entire occupation which is illegal according to international law. It is a true violation of Judaism. When Netanyahu insists to call that state a Jewish state, what he is doing is confusing the masses, using tactics to silence people, not to dare to speak up against their crimes and blaming them of being anti-Semitic. In fact, what this confusion is doing, it's causing anti-Semitism. It's exacerbating anti-Semitism. Unfortunately, innocent people see what is happening for the Palestinians, see what the Israeli state is doing. Unfortunately, they confuse and they blame all Jews for what is happening. We stand up, we have to stand up, and we will stand up and not allow all this to continue any longer. Let me just conclude by a very important statement. It should stay with all of you forever. We have to understand and remember the difference between Judaism and Zionism. Judaism is a religion only, no politics to it and no nationalism, versus a relatively new movement which has transformed Judaism from a religion into nationalism and destroyed all peoples involved. We pray for the end of this entire occupation. We hope that the peace that did exist in Palestine before this movement of Zionism came, we hope that this be the reality in the future, and all peoples, regardless where we come from, regardless how we worship God, we all together will once again join together in peace and harmony in the Holy Land. Thank you very much.
Of what I stand and will continue to stand for. Humanity for everyone. For everyone across the world, for all nationalities, I stand in front of you today to remind you that in the past 2 weeks, history is again repeating itself. Innocent men, women, and children are dying. And it is not because of a pandemic. It is by the hands of the Israeli military. Yes. Just a little piece of my personal situation. I lived in Gaza. My daughters have uncles that are still in Gaza. I have friends that became family. They took me in. And the fact that I had the freedom to be categorized or classified as an American during the 2012 war, they let me cross the borders and I was free to go. Every night.
Take your time.
It's okay, baby.
Take your time.
I look at them as the real heroes.
Yes.
But I also believe that we crossed over so my kids can get the education they need to use their tongues to educate the rest of the world. that this is not just a Palestinian cause, this is genocide. This is standing up for humanity. This is speaking and giving a voice to the voiceless. As an American citizen, I have to admit that our country has always shied away from supporting Palestinians and their rights, mainly because our Congress is controlled by an Israeli lobby.
Yes,
We must never confuse resistance and terrorism. And what Gaza is doing right now is the resistance and fight for freedom, their basic fight for human rights. Israel should be held accountable for the treacherous murders with their top-of-the-line guide missiles. How do you miss and kill women? How do you miss and kill children? How do you miss and kill doctors that are leading the Shifa hospital? How do you bombard the same road, the one and only road, to take injured people to a hospital? This is precision. This is genocide, and it against international laws. Dear fellow Americans, never be afraid to speak the truth. I stand before you as a reminder. They are counting on us to spread the word, to spread the truth. Do not let Congress, do not let the people sitting in that White House brainwash us or deter you from speaking the truth. Those who stand up for justice stand up for everything. Thank you. Thank you so much, Nora. That was very from the heart. We now have a Reverend Rodney Hunter here, and he would like to say something. He is from Name Church.
We're tough. Just remember that.
Good evening, everyone, and a special thanks to all of you for coming to make the stand for the truth and for justice. I'm a minister here in Richmond, United Methodist Church, and I've come to stand with you in solidarity to say that we stand for that which is true. We want to let it made known to the media. Too many times the media makes it look like the Palestinians are doing all of the dirty stuff. That's a misconception, and too many times we have been persuaded and think the wrong way. First, we need to make sure the media is speaking truth to the people. The second thing we need to make sure is that as a Christian, too many times we support Israel and feel that Israel can do no wrong. It's not about favoring a special people, it's about what is right. And we know that oppression is wrong. I don't care where it is, and no matter who does it. Oppression is wrong. And we need to, as Christians, stand for that which is true. We support our government when they are sending military arms to support Israel against the Palestinians. And this too is wrong. Rather than sending them bombs and missiles and airplanes, they should put a table and a chair where they can come and sit down and talk and reason together. This is creating a problem, a lopsided problem, where you give somebody that kind of power, they're going to use it in oppressive ways. And let me say that my life was touched, and I too used to feel many times that what the Palestinians were doing was wrong, but I learned when I went to Israel, when I went to the West Bank, and I saw the oppression, and I saw the love of the Palestinians, and I saw how many families had been destroyed and their sons had died. My life was touched. I was so touched that I came back with a new message. The message was, we must stop this oppressive force against people who cannot defend themselves. As black people especially, we know what oppression is all about. We know it. We've been there. And we don't want to condone anybody oppressing any children of the world. People belong to God, and God shows no respect of persons, and I join you to say, let's keep on making it known that we will not ever, ever let down from speaking the truth about how the U.S. is supporting violence and oppression. God bless you.
Good evening. My name is Princess Blandon, and I am the sister of the late Marcus David Peters, co-founder of Justice and Reformation, member of the Virginia Defenders of Freedom, Justice, and Equity, and I am a third-party candidate running for governor here in Virginia. Today and every day, until our brothers and sisters in Palestine are liberated from this oppressive, inhumane dictatorship of the Israeli government, we must continue to stand in solidarity with Palestine. What is taking place there is nothing short of apartheid and a genocide. We cannot sit silently while women, children, men, grandparents are murdered with their only crime being their mere existence. In 2018 and 2019, we united and took to the streets right here in Richmond in love, solidarity, and unity to demand justice and reformation for my brother Marcus David Peters, who was murdered while he was unarmed, completely undressed, and experiencing a mental health crisis. My brother, your brother, Marcus David Peters, was murdered by the continuous failures of our local, state, and federal government, by the people we elect to uplift our voices, needs, and concerns. Last summer, the summer of 2020, during the Richmond uprising, we united and took to the streets again to demand that our legislators not only say that Black Lives Matter, but enact legislation that shows that Black liberation matters. And now, we must continue to unite in love, unity, and solidarity to demand that our state and federal legislators cut off all financial support and military support to the Israeli government. The Virginia Israeli Advisory Board, located right here in Richmond, Virginia, brings business to Israeli companies that ultimately fund these mass weapons of destruction used to attempt to wipe out our Palestinian brothers and sisters. I cannot and will not sit in silence as our government funds and support the genocide against Palestine. We cannot and will not sit silently while our local and state governments support the murders of Palestinians. The inaction of our government to take a position in solidarity with Palestine brings strong parallels to their refusal to enact legislation that shows that Black liberation matters. Our government is funding their military and weapons just as they bring raises to police officers and supply them with Israeli training. We demand that our state and federal government cut off all financial and military support to Israeli government now. Okay, we're looking for Sanaz, who's supposed to... Oh, I didn't see... Okay, Sanaz, will you introduce yourself? You are quite the activist, and I know you're working on many issues, and this is one that I know you...
Call it apartheid due to 72 years of the imposition of legal, social, and geographical distinctions between people on the basis of ethnicity. Call it settler colonialism and ethnic cleansing for what is occurring in Sheikh Jarrah. Call it genocide, occupation, fascism, imperialism, a military siege, land theft, because that is what we are witnessing with our very eyes today. Trust your eyes, speak the truth.
Thank you very much, Sanaz. We are looking for Anna Edwards. She's up next in 48. We settled in a refugee camp in Gaza with no possibility of going home, and now is cowering in fear with her family, afraid of the loss of life. Look at a teenager growing up in Gaza who has survived bombing raids in 2008.
Free Palestine!
Well, we're going to have plenty of time for chanting. We're going to start the march shortly. And I'm going to ask